Every market provides an opportunity to find companies that are undervalued, buy those companies, and then see an investment go up in value. And 2024 is no exception. I think there's really good companies out there that are unappreciated, and I'm trying to find them. I'd like to share some companies that I believe are good investments for my portfolio, and I'm going to be buying those companies in March 2024. In order to build up some capital, I also need to sell some stocks. So I'm going to share with you the stocks that I'm selling, the reasons for it. Stocks have been doing really well in 2024, and that's following a year when stocks did great. Year to date, the S&P is up 6.8%. That's great. The sectors that are ahead of the S&P include financials, information technology, and communication services. Great companies like Meta, Nvidia, Microsoft are in those categories. Financials is really bouncing back from a bad year in 23, and it's good to see that financials are doing well in 24. But I think my opportunity lies in sectors that are not as popular. In the short term, the stock market is a voting machine. In the long term, it's a weighing machine that weighs value and rewards value investors. So I'm going to be looking for stocks, and I'm going to be sharing stocks that I'm buying in sectors that are probably not keeping up with the S&P, but I expect will be doing better in the latter parts of 2024. At any one time, I try to stay invested in the market and have my capital working, which means I'm buying stocks with almost all the cash that I have, all the capital, in order to be in a position to buy more shares of the companies that I really want to grow in 24. I need to sell some stocks. And here's a list of the stocks that I'm going to be selling or trimming back shares. The first one is Producio. This is an online company that provides higher education online. I think it's a really neat company, but I fear that they could be easily replaced by a bigger name institution. Molina Healthcare has been doing great, and I'd like to take a gain and get that capital ready to invest in other companies. Comcast is a company that's done great, and I have a good return on Comcast. They also pay a dividend. But I think that Comcast is really having trouble with Netflix and other streamers. And I think their business is really hard to make money in now. If you look at Disney as an example, man, they've had some tough years. I don't know that that business type is all that attractive anymore. So I'd rather sell my Comcast at a good gain and use that capital for stocks that I want to grow my position in. Future Fuel, I thought was going to be a neat stock to own. I haven't lost too much. I've lost a little bit on that stock, but they don't keep up with oil prices. And if I can't understand a company and see how it's going to trade and how it's the value is going to be affected by oil prices, then I've got to sell it. And that's the reason I'm selling Future Fuel. And then Enphase Energy, I'm going to sell it at a gain, but boy, that's just been a turbulent stock. And I think that in 24, I don't know that solar is going to be all that great. I think there's probably a climate for solar. It might be good in a year or two, but for now, I think it's better for me to cash in Enphase Energy and get that capital ready to buy stocks that I really want to own in 24. And the five companies that I'm buying more shares in 2024 are Zim, 3M, Ternium, Cigna, and CVS. Let me go one by one and tell you a little bit more of why I'm buying more shares in these companies. So Zim is an integrated shipping company, and they ship big containers all around the world. As you can imagine, a lot of them from China to different parts of the world. And over the last couple of years, they've had some really high highs. They were really profitable when we had really high shipping rates, but then the stock has really crumbled. And I am sitting on a really nice gain because I bought at the trough. But I think there's more upside in Zim. And the reason for it is shipping rates are on the rise. This is a company that if shipping rates go up, so does their profitability. They're going to announce their earnings on March 13th, and you better believe I'm going to be reading that earnings report. But leading up to that date, I'd like to buy more shares because I think it's going to be positive news on the 13th, and this stock's really going to go up. 3M is a company that historically has been one of the best companies really in America. They've been around for a long time, have been an innovative company. They're also well diversified. It's considered an industrial for good reason. They create a lot of products that manufacturers and companies use in their production, but they also provide a lot of consumer staple products. Overall, I think very highly of the company. I think 3M is a great company, and they have fallen on hard times. They've had a couple of lawsuits related to some injuries that their earplugs created, as an example. And I think they're getting through those lawsuits, which is good to hear. The stocks really had huge volatility, and I like volatility. Volatility is my friend. I like buying shares that are really discounted. I put a premium on the name 3M. I also put a premium on the high dividend that they're paying. This is a good dividend paying company. They pay a 6.5% dividend, and I think there's good upside in 3M. Once they get their business stabilized, I could see this stock really doubling in value in the next 3 to 5 years. The next company that I'm buying shares in is Ternium, and this is a steel producer. The reason I like Ternium is most of their operations are located down in Mexico. The target market for their products are manufacturers in Mexico, as well as shipping raw material up to the United States in order for their rolled steel to be put into production in the United States in manufacturing. That strategic location is really valuable. A lot of companies are moving to Mexico to have nearshoring established in Mexico, since a lot of the end markets end up being in the United States. This company is profitable. They have lots of volatility. And again, I like volatility because it enables me to buy shares at really good discounted prices. Just recently, before their earnings, they were trading below $38 a share. And they had a nice pop when their earnings came out and investors realized how profitable the company was. They pay a really nice dividend that they can afford. So overall, I like Ternium. I like having some materials companies. I have this one, I'm going to continue to buy shares in Ternium. I believe that healthcare companies were really beaten up in 23 and have some pent up upside left in them for 2024. And a good example would be Cigna. Cigna has been doing great. If you look at their 1 year chart, they're up 15%. And especially here in 24, they're just, going up really fast. And I really like the company. I think they are very discounted. They're very profitable, generate awesome free cash flow. So I continue to buy shares in Cigna. We'll continue to make this position larger. And the final company that I'm going to be putting out there is CVS. CVS has continued to really execute on their business plan well, just quarter after quarter, year after year. But for some reason, the market just doesn't like CVS. I think some factors are really scaring investors away. And I'm not sure I understand why people are afraid of CVS, but I'm not. And I continue to buy shares in this company. They pay a nice dividend at 3.6%. And I think that they're well unappreciated, undervalued, and should go up in value over the next 2 to 5 years. So every year, there's an opportunity to buy companies that are unappreciated, buy them at a great price, and then watch your investment go up in value. That's certainly what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to share my experience with you, my journey. By no means is this a recommendation to buy any company that I covered or sell any company that I covered. I'm just sharing my experience and my journey with you. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope that you do really well in 2024.